Beloved station, Radio Cayman.
The voice,
the heart, the soul of the Cayman Islands.
For the Record is brought to you by Vamped Motors, the only authorized Ford and Toyota dealership serving the Cayman Islands. Coca-Cola, available across the Cayman Islands from Tortuga Distributors. Accept no substitutes. Taste the feeling with Coca-Cola. Brand Source Home Gallery, inspiring luxury. West Bay Pharmacy, taking care of your health. And JN Money.
From abroad to yard.
Fast, affordable, convenient. Doctor's Hospital. Peace of mind is important when life happens. Doctor's Hospital. Always there for you. Call 949-6066.
This is For the Record with Ort Connor.
Coming to you live from Radio Cayman Studio.
For the record.
For the record. For the record. Hear from your government officials, independents, and the opposition on issues that matter to you. For the record. Engage in an open dialogue between residents and lawmakers.
For the record.
For the record. For the record. Informative, impartial, insightful.
This is your talk show.
1-800-534-8255. Your calls, your input. This is For the Record. And now, your host, Ort Connor.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. O land of soft, fresh breezes and verdant trees, so fair. Today is Monday, the 23rd day of May 2022. Right here in the beautiful Cayman Islands. We hope and we trust that everyone had a restful, peaceful, enjoyable weekend. Those of you who are on the roads of the Cayman Islands, and we know that some of you get out there real early in the mornings. You're out there on the roads really early because of your commitments either to your job, or some of you may be heading off to the gym or whatever later on in the morning. Then there are those who are either taking their children to school, or they're heading to work themselves. So we hope and we trust that everyone remains safe, whether you're a pedestrian or a cyclist, or if you're operating any type of motorized vehicle on the roads of the Cayman Islands. Again, we urge you to please, please, please be extremely cautious. Ensure that you observe the rules of the road, and by so doing, the life you save may just be your own, or it may be a friend, it may be a family member, or it may just be a stranger. So drive defensively. Sometimes you have to drive for the other driver as well. You want to anticipate what they may or may not do. And of course, you want to remember, when there is inclement weather, you need to adjust your driving to suit the weather conditions as well. So, those of you who are celebrating a birthday today, we want to wish you a happy birthday. Or if you've celebrated a birthday over the past few days, we want to wish you a belated happy birthday, and special belated birthday greetings are going out to Miss Jane Ramon on her 82nd birthday yesterday. Miss Jane Ramon celebrated her 82nd birthday, and her brother Dale Ramon and all of her family, as well as the Committee of Central Scranton Community. And they want to acknowledge Miss Jane's birthday yesterday, and they want also to express how much gratitude they have for her for all of the years of her hard work, love, care, and dedication to the community. They wish her God's continued blessing with good health and prosperity. And we know that she will always have that love coming from her family and from her friends as well. But this is a special belated birthday greeting going out to Miss Jane Ramon, who celebrated her 82nd birthday yesterday. Happy belated birthday, Miss Jane, as well. Also celebrating a birthday yesterday was Mr. Brandon Moxham, and as usual, she makes sure that she never misses his birthday. She wants his nana, grandmother, Miss Phyllis Moxham, sending belated birthday greetings to Brandon as well. Of course, Brandon is now residing in the United Kingdom. He is a part-time personal trainer, physical trainer, as well as an architect as well. And she is extremely proud of him also. And folks, I want to say to you, continue to listen to this space or to listen to Radio Cayman, because we have a very special announcement to make about For the Record and the possible change in programming to accommodate you as well, get you, our listening and viewing audience, more involved in the program. And we also want to recognize when people have special events like birthdays or anniversaries, or celebrating a graduation, or celebrating starting a new job or a retirement or whatever. We want to be able to big you up on For the Record. So continue to watch and listen to this space. We'll have something, for you. For those of you who have lost loved ones, again, we want to express our sincere condolences to you. We hope and we trust that your faith will help to carry you through these extremely challenging times, and that the memories of your loved ones will be a blessing to you as well. Those of you who are ill and are either at home or at a medical facility, either in the Cayman Islands or overseas, we wish you a speedy recovery as well. And if you're traveling today, we also want to wish you safe travels to whatever destination you are heading today as well. So, folks, I want to thank you for allowing Radio Cayman, and by extension, For the Record, into your homes, into your vehicles as you traverse the busy roads of the Cayman Islands, into your places of work, wherever that may be. As you know, For the Record is a show produced by the staff and management of Radio Cayman, and it is geared towards keeping you abreast of issues as they arise and play out on the local, regional, and international scene. I am your host, Art Connor, and you're welcome to join me every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 7:30 a.m. until 10 a.m. During that period, the phone lines are open. Beautiful radio voice of Miss Susan Watson waiting to take your calls. We know that the people of Cayman Brac will want to claim her as their own, but we in Grand Cayman will do the same as well. So you will have a battle over her, or we will just share her. When she gets a vacation, we'll allow her to go over there, and then she can stay here for the rest of the time. So you can call us on our toll-free number provided courtesy of Flo. That toll-free number, 1-800-534-8255. You can also call us on 949-8037 and 949-6990. Email us at fortherecord, one word, fortherecord at candw.ky. WhatsApp us, 925-3261, where you can send us a text message or leave us a voice note, the contents of which will be played during the course of the show. And, of course, you can follow us on YouTube simply by subscribing to Radio Cayman live stream. So one of our listeners has already taken advantage of that opportunity to call in. So let's take that caller. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning, Mr. O.C.
Good morning. Good morning. How are you?
Just great listening to you. And I just want to announce that Deirdre has reached her 50th birthday today. And it's marvelous. I want to wish her a happy birthday.
Can you repeat the name again?
Deirdre.
Deirdre? Okay. Okay.
This is Gay.
Oh, Miss Gay. Hi. How are you, ma'am?
Oh, I'm doing well.
How are things? Are you in the Brac?
No, I'm here with her. I had to come and help her celebrate this 50th.
50th, yeah. That's a huge milestone. Yes.
It is. I can't believe she's there yet. It seemed like yesterday I was holding her up my arms. But anyway, thank you so much, O.C. Just want you wish you a happy birthday for me.
Thank you very much, Miss Gay. Yes, Miss Deidre, we want to wish you a happy 50th birthday, and may you live to see many, many, many more as well. We know that you're a strong person, you're a family person as well, and it is so good to hear from your mum, Miss Gay, as well. When we talk about clerks and I think of the Legislative Assembly, we should never forget that Miss Gay Jackson, was involved in the legislature as well, and not only in the legislature, but within, central government also. Many, many strong Caymanian women who served in our civil service, and we want to thank them all. We want to thank them all for their service as well. Let's grab another caller before we go to a break. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Morning, OC. Morning.
Hey, good morning. Good morning. How are you?
Well, I'm feeling good. I tried to get on Friday, but I didn't hold on, and I couldn't get back. But I want to say my condolences to the late speaker, to Miss Sybil. I know Miss Sybil one time I was a little boy.
Uh-huh.
I used to catch goggle eyes with her husband, Mr. Dudley, Mr. Osborne, all them fellas there, Yeah. So now we got 19 people elected. OC.
Mm-hmm.
And I want everybody in the Cayman Islands this morning, this is a request from Elvis. When on a see the Honorable Kenneth Bryan on a take off on a hat and salute the man. Now, the Caymanian we always talk about, I hear all the Caymanian talk about, I now voted for this one time, never done nothing, never done nothing for me. Well, okay, right now, there is no other MLA in the last 15 years that is taking the stand that Kenneth Bryan is taking to clean up his country, our country.
Yes.
The Bible says godliness,
cleanliness, yes.
Next to godliness,
Yep.
but I tell you one thing, Kenneth must have seen that we were drifting far, far away from the Lord. And, I want to fight, but obviously, the last government for the 8 years, they didn't do nothing about it, because I remember, and I shook my head, and I was cursing to myself. You remember somebody got caught dumping construction, all kind of thing, and they said, catch me if you can, right?
Yes.
It was in the news, and you know what they done the person when they caught it? Told him to clean it up, and please don't do it again. No, them teams got stopped. No. But the beautification committee, like I say, I never heard nothing yet. I heard that one young lady's up there. She might give me a call today. I don't know, but see, I don't know if you remember. I called your radio show. I called Cayman. I called from what did it cost now? When Elio Solomon was running there. This was my take on it with the littering. Everybody got a smartphone now. If anything happened, the shit on the road is on Facebook, right?
Mm-hmm.
So tell me something. This was my suggestion. But remember now, you listen carefully.
I am.
It is coming from Elvis Jeffrey McKeever.
Right.
So that's why you don't go anywhere. My suggestion was simple. You say you need evidence to convict, right? Okay, the fine is $500. This is my thing to Elio. And then up it up to $1,500. And anybody with a cellular phone that snaps a picture of somebody littering, they get $200, $100 or $500 out of it.
Mm-hmm.
And if you think that wouldn't work, that would work. But like I said, that comes from Elvis McKeever, so that is going nowhere. That's not true. It's just like the fishing. We brag that we top of the marine in the Caribbean, how we take care of a reef. 30 years gone. But how it is that, because I say it come from Elvis Jeffrey McKeever again now, nobody from it, no visitor should be able to take any marine life from our resources here.
I agree.
Look at Bahamas got the most counts in the world, and you can't go there and die one count. No, you can't go there and die one count. You have to go on a charter boat. But what it is that you know what we do? We keep punishing the Caymanians. The marine depleted, so what we going to do? We're not going to stop the foreigners from fishing. We're going to expand it so the Caymanians can't fish it. Why is it that we spite our people, and all you got to do is say, listen, fellas, I don't care if you come here to take out people's heart as a doctor. You come here to chop bush. You're living in the wreck. You can't touch one thing out the sea. You can't touch it. You can't get our land. You can't. They not belong to you. You can't do it.
And our reason for that is that we want to protect. We have to protect and preserve our flora and fauna and our natural environment.
Yeah, but we don't seem to do that. Listen, I said this from, okay, this is how long I've been preaching this really, really long. You know, we said that they would never see a black president in the United States, right? Well, okay, that's been 12 years ago since we've seen that, right? And Obama could send people to kill bin Laden, right? But he could not go Florida and die with lobster without a license. He couldn't do it, right? But anybody can hop on a plane and go down to the old Cayman Islands, those fools down there. Let's eat them out. Throw garbage around the island, leave our old cars. Do what they're not going to send. They're weak and fool. What a sad story. Anyhow, we getting a little blessing by me up. Frat and the Lord give me a good little blessing for my mangoes.
Good, that's good. We need it here as well.
I got lots of them duck for sale this morning at the store there too.
You may
thank you very much.
Take care. Thank you too. You may want to send some of those Nam ducks over to Grand Cayman. My sister Anis, all she likes is the Nam duck and the East Indian mango as well. Folks, we have to take a commercial break. Please stay tuned. For the record, we'll be back shortly.
The Cayman Islands boasts of a long, colorful, and rich history. In tribute to our roots, Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands, is pleased to bring you the Historical Vignette Series, brought to you by Rotary Central. For more than 110 years, Rotary members have used their passion, energy, and intelligence to take action on sustainable projects. The Cayman Islands, He hath founded it upon the seas.
The development of the Cayman Islands financial services industry is said to be nothing short of a modern economic miracle and should not be understated. Did you know that prior to 1953, the only operational bank in the Cayman Islands was a government savings bank, although it could not conduct commercial transactions or solve cash flow shortages? Despite pleas from the governor in Jamaica for the banks there to open a branch in the Cayman Islands, it was not until March 1953 when Barclays DCO opened their first office in Dr. Roy McTaggart's dental parlor on South Church Street. In 1957, Barclays moved into Dr. Roy's newly constructed Rembrandt building on Cardinal Avenue, and they did not see their first competition until 1963, when Royal Bank of Canada opened their first branch in the islands. Barclays would later open the first commercial bank branch in the sister islands on Cayman Brac in 1964. The Banking and Trust Companies and Regulation Law of 1966 would soon prove to be the key to launching the Cayman Islands into the world of offshore finance.
Since 1993, Rotary Central has worked diligently each year to provide quality bus shelters to our community, a traveling convenience to our school children, the elderly, young people going to work, guest workers, and visitors using the public bus. We, Rotary Central, help you, our advertisers, make it happen. Your marketing dollar travels a far way. Positioning your message, your product, your services, your presence in over 83 bus shelters. Every dollar you spend, every advert you place helps to build another bus shelter, providing modest comfort for Cayman travelers. Reserve space now on the only billboard medium in the Cayman Islands. Email rotaryshelters@gmail.com. rotaryshelters@gmail.com. The Bus Shelters, a partner in community convenience. Another inspiration program by Rotary Central Cayman Islands.
Radio Cayman's Historical Vignettes was brought to you by Rotary Central. For more than 110 years, Rotary members have used their passion, energy, and intelligence to take action on sustainable projects.
JN Money touchdown. Send the money now. Reach wow. You say you need some money, JN Money, I can send it in a hurry. Get through quick when you come collect your cash, or use your money card and swipe it in a flash. Send funds to any bank, yeah. Pay your bills quick, yeah. Low fees, you know what it, yeah. JN Money, we a pick, yeah. Send and receive funds at any JN Money location. It's fast, affordable, and convenient. Money touchdown with JN Money. Send funds to any bank? Yeah. Pay your bills quick? Yeah. Low fees, you know what it? Yeah. JN Money, we are pick? Yeah.
Call 345-945-2014 for details. Available at JN Money locations across the Cayman Islands.
We think it's time you crossed over to a new vehicle. And with the Toyota Corolla Cross now at Vant Motors, you have plenty of reasons to make the switch. The crossover body and hybrid engine is a sleek design in a sturdy structure with a spacious interior that opens to extensive cargo space. Stuck in traffic? The high-performance self-charging hybrid system automatically switches between gas and electric vehicle mode, helping you lower both fuel costs and carbon emissions. The Corolla Cross has full LED lighting inside and out, an integrated display audio system with energy monitor, and a dual-zone climate control system to ensure comfort for all. Test drive the new Toyota Corolla Cross Hybrid today at Vant Motors, Walkers Road.
At Doctors Hospital, we know life happens, and usually when you least expect it. So when unexpected medical issues arise, you need quality care close to home. Located in the heart of Georgetown, our accomplished team of physicians and medical staff treat minor urgent conditions such as migraines, chest and abdominal pain, shortness of breath, burns, broken bones, open wounds, and more. 24 hours, 7 days a week with no appointment necessary. Peace of mind is important when life happens. At Doctors Hospital, we're always here just for you. Need to speak to someone? Call 949-6066.
What's that? No sugar, same amazing taste? Coca-Cola Zero Sugar is here to stay. Classic taste, pure satisfaction. Be sure to stop into any Tortuga location and get your own case of Coke Zero. Or grab an ice-cold one straight from the cooler. Brought to you by Tortuga Distributors Limited. Coca-Cola, taste the feeling, Cayman.
Make your house into a home. Welcome to Brand Source Home Gallery, your source for premium products and a premium experience. We'll design and install your dream kitchen with crafted cabinets, complemented with elegant appliances. We'll fill it with quality houseware and cookware. Custom-designed closet and storage solutions organize and beautify any area. And with the finest bedding, you'll get a perfect night's sleep knowing Brand Source Home Gallery has everything you need to make your house a home.
System 1 loaded. 1-800-534-8255. What is on your mind when it comes to the government, independence, and the opposition? Issues that matter to you. 1-800-534-8255. Waiting to hear from you. For the Record.
This is For the Record with Ort Connor.
Good morning. Welcome back to For the Record. In about 5 minutes, we're going to go back to our 8 o'clock news. We do have a caller, so we're going to accommodate that caller. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning, sir.
Hey, good morning. How are you? How was the weekend?
Oh, weekend was nice. I'm not even talking to you this morning. I have a brand new fave.
Okay.
Mr. Elvis Jeffrey Makiva up there in Cayman Brack. And I'm saying out of Cayman Brack because we know where he come from. Morning, Golden Boy. This is the one that always be troubling you when you be talking about the things I don't want you to talk about. And things to think about. But what a brilliant mind. I agree with anything you say every time except that subject. And the two subjects you chose this morning, brilliant.
Yes.
Thank you very much. And in particular, for the last item on your list, in particular for that, I had wanted to expand a little more, go a little deeper, as Mr. Ezra would say, drill down a little more. But, you know, it was good enough to raise the interest of anybody in the public domain and also our legislators. Thank you. Have a nice day, Mr. Elvis. Bye.
Thank you. Thank you very much for that call. And just to add to that, I know she's going to continue to listen. As we know, in Bermuda, they passed their cannabis legislation in the Bermuda Parliament. The governor there, she has not assented to it. She has refused to assent to it. And a gentleman by the name of Edward Edward Tavares, who is he is the co-founder of the children's activist group called Child Watch. And what he's advocating for, he's saying that the delay in signing the cannabis legislation or any amendments to it, while that is taking place, that the focus should be on protecting the youth of Bermuda. So they need to look at the legislation. If they're thinking about passing it, they need to ensure that the youth, Bermudan youth, are protected in that regard. One more thing I want to squeeze in before we go to our 8 o'clock news. And as you know, this, for the record, never gets political. I say that tongue-in-cheek. And of course, you know, I have been accused of either supporting one side or the other, and I try to be as neutral as possible. But Mr. Elvis McKeever was given a big shout-out and a big up to Minister Kenneth Bryan. Yesterday, I went to get a haircut, and those of you who are watching on YouTube will see that I'm freshly trimmed, haircut and everything. I went probably 3 or 4 weeks beyond the time that I normally would. But in my barbershop, people there were talking a little bit of politics and stuff, and they were talking about Minister Kenneth Bryan. And one particular gentleman was saying that when he first ran, he said to him, Kenneth, you're not going to get in this time, but the next time when you run, you're going to get in. And he said, sure enough, that is what happened. Now, what their focus was in terms of the discussion, and Minister Bryan, was that he's going to hold on to that seat in Georgetown Central for a long time. They even referred to him as the next Kurt Tibbetts in terms of the length of time that he will hold on to the seat. They had nothing but praise for him in terms of his approach, what he's doing, and also making attempts, as genuine attempts to keep the promises that he has made to his constituents, but not only to his constituents, but to the people of the Cayman Islands, as well. So I just wanted to share that to go along with what Elvis had to say about Minister Bryan. So in the barbershop where I was at, and folks, I was there genuinely getting a haircut. I wasn't there for any other reason but to get a haircut. So I just wanted to share that with you as well. So folks, we've reached the top of the hour. We're going to have the 8 o'clock news. When we return, we will continue to have open line, and then at 9 o'clock, we're going to have people coming in talking about teen pregnancy. So please stay tuned. For the record, we'll be back immediately after the 8 o'clock news.
Thank you, Mr. Connor. And studio time now by Foster's is 7:59.
At Foster's, we have better prices, so you can save big on your groceries.
Just like Purex laundry detergent. Selected varieties, only $3.99. Save $3. We also have Tostitos chips. Original 10-ounce pack for just $2.19. Save $3.50. And Listerine mouthwash, 33.8 ounce. Selected varieties, only $6.79. Save $2.90.
You'll find even more great specials in all Foster's locations or online with Foster's Go. Foster's, better prices because we care.
Price is good until June 1st, 2022. Find more specials at fosters.ky.
The voice of the Cayman Islands.
89.9 FM in Grand Cayman and 93.9 FM in Cayman Brac and Little Cayman.
Silver wings shining in the sunlight.
Radio Cayman.
The 8 a.m. news is brought to you by ValueMed Pharmacy. Save time and order your prescription refills online at value-medpharmacy.com. VALU-medpharmacy.com.
For today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands.
With your latest news, I'm Carsley Fuller. The Ministry of Border Control and Labor says the next disbursement date for the Displaced Tourism Employees Stipend is set for today, with recipients who completed the mandatory survey before the May 6 deadline. Radio Cayman's April Cummings reports.
The ministry says with the help of additional staff from Travel Cayman, a recent assessment was conducted to gauge the need for continued financial assistance beyond the lifetime of the stipend program. Anyone still in need of financial assistance will be referred to the Needs Assessment Unit. The stipend program for displaced tourism workers was a temporary program created to help workers impacted by the COVID-19 border closures. Well, officials say the borders have reopened now and tourism is making a steady return. A number of workers have returned to full-time hours or expect to do so within the next month or so. A statement over the weekend did not provide specific numbers, but did say as the stipend program winds down, Caymanians who need assistance in seeking employment or those interested in training opportunities are encouraged to register with Workforce Opportunities and Residency Cayman. Caymanians can register as a Job Seeker Plus client, which will provide them with an employment services officer for one-on-one job support after the assessment process has been completed. April Cummings, Radio Cayman News.
Anyone with any questions about the stipend program can call 649-6932 or email stipend@gov.ky. Cayman's firefighters recently underwent their accredited driver skills training with Emergency Response Driving Training Limited UK and fire and rescue industry training courses with Oshkosh for the operation of their new emergency truck equipment. It's required for aviation and domestic support. The new aviation fire and rescue trucks are equipped with state-of-the-art technology that allow CIFS to, quote, flexibly tackle fire and rescue operations from every angle efficiently and effectively support airport operations. And in other news, it's a night of great music and big wins as Cayman's young steel band players competed in the 17th staging of the Amin Mohammed Steel Band Festival at the John Gray High School Gym Saturday night. John Gray High School Dream Team took their division. Other winners included Mason Falcone, primary solo champion, Tegan McFarland, juniors champion, Micah Leon, seniors champion, and Joshua McLean took the overall championship title. The festival was organized by the Department of Education Services and sponsored by Cayman National Bank. It included students from both public and private schools across the Cayman Islands. Now with a check of international news, here's the BBC, which will take us out of the newscast. I'm Karsley Fuller from Radio Cayman's Newsroom.
BBC News with Jerry Smith. A court in Ukraine has sentenced a 21-year-old Russian tank commander, Vadim Shishimarin, to life in jail for killing an unarmed civilian in the first war crimes trial since Russia's invasion 3 months ago. Shishimarin had admitted to killing 62-year-old Alexander Shalipov, dead in a village in the Sumy region, and expressed repentance, but he denied carrying out a war crime. President Volodymyr Zelensky of Ukraine has told the World Economic Forum that Russia should be punished for its invasion of his country in order to discourage future aggression. Speaking on a visit to Japan, President Biden has said the United States would intervene militarily to defend Taiwan if China were to invade the island. Mr. Biden said that the U.S. remained committed to the One China policy, but the idea that Taiwan could be taken by force, he said, would dislocate the entire region. The Japanese Prime Minister, Fumio Kishida, welcomed the U.S. commitment to greater engagement in Asia. Local media in Ethiopia's northern Amhara region say more than 4,000 people have been arrested as part of a wider crackdown by the authorities against militia fighters, critics and the press. The state security officials said more than 200 of the suspects were accused of killings and other illegal activities. People in Iraq have been advised to stay indoors for the next 48 hours as another huge dust storm has brought the country to a virtual standstill. Businesses and schools have been closed and exams postponed. Flights have stopped at several airports, including Baghdad. BBC News.
The 8 a.m. news is brought to you by ValueMed Pharmacy. Save time and order your prescription refills online at value-medpharmacy.com. VALU-medpharmacy.com. Did you know that ValueMed Pharmacy has a free online prescription service? Managing your health and medical requirements has never been easier with ValueMed. Simply visit value-medpharmacy.com. That's VALU-medpharmacy.com and click the Refill Prescriptions tab on our website. Fill in the information for new prescriptions or refills and choose your preferred pickup location. ValueMed on Walker's Road or Town. Then bring in your original prescription from your doctor when picking up. There's no need to stand in line and wait for your prescription. Save time and pick up prescriptions at your convenience by visiting value-medpharmacy.com. That's VALU-medpharmacy.com.
Stay in touch with Radio Cayman for the latest in news and information.
Follow Radio Cayman on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Download the Radio Cayman app or log on to our website, www.radiocayman.gov.ky.
Radio Cayman, your voice, your choice, your radio.
The Cayman Islands Justices of the Peace Association will be holding its annual general meeting on Tuesday, 24th May, 6:30 p.m. at the Georgetown Yacht Club, 2nd floor. All members of the association are encouraged to attend as the agenda will include the changeover of council members. The 8:12 a.m. weather report brought to you by CG Britcay, where people come first.
Good morning, everyone. Hello? Hello? Oh, sorry, I was on mute. Okay, I see we have just about everyone, and of course, Tom drops off, as per usual. Let's just wait a minute here. He always comes right back, and we're almost ready, and... oh, whoever's dog that is, please go on mute. Why won't it let me share my screen? Okay, looks like we're ready to start.
We're like a video conference with no technical issues. CG Britcay. Good like that.
Good morning. Let's take a look at the latest weather report. Current temperature is 83 degrees. Relative humidity is 83%. The barometric pressure 29.98 inches and rising. The wind is out of the east-southeast at 7 knots. Overnight low temperature was 80 degrees. Synopsis indicate cloudy and hazy conditions along with light to moderate winds and seas are expected to continue over the Cayman area for the next few days. Satellite images show scattered multi-level clouds in and around the Cayman area. Now, the forecast for today calling for partly cloudy and hazy skies with a 30% chance of showers and possible thunder. Temperatures will rise to the mid to upper 80s. Winds will be east to southeast at 5 to 10 knots, and seas will be slight to moderate with wave heights of 2 to 4 feet. Pretty much the same for tonight, cloudy and hazy skies with a 30% chance of showers tonight. Winds will be east to southeast at 5 to 10 knots, and temperatures will fall to the upper 70s tonight. Seas will be slight to moderate with wave heights of 1 to 2 feet. Low tide will occur this morning at 11:34, high tide this evening at 5:52, and a low tide again tonight at 11:53. The sun will set this evening at 6:55 and will rise tomorrow morning at 5:48. And the outlook is calling for similar weather conditions through Wednesday morning.
The 8:12 a.m. weather report brought to you by CG Britcay, where people come first.
Good morning, everyone. Hello? Hello? Oh, sorry, I was on mute. Okay, I see we have just about everyone, and of course, Tom drops off, as per usual. Let's just wait a minute here. He always comes right back, and we're almost ready, and... oh, whoever's dog that is, please go on mute. Why won't it let me share my screen? Okay, looks like we're ready to start.
We're like a video conference with no technical issues. CG Britcay. Good like that.
The traffic report is brought to you by Subway. Planning a meeting, event, or office celebration? Visit subway.ky to place your catering order today.
Good morning once again. Let's take a look at traffic. Godfrey Nixon Way and Eastern Avenue traffic flowing pretty good. Steady traffic coming from the east on Cool Road and heading east on Cool Road. Traffic moving on pretty good. Shamrock Road, traffic is moderate. And steady traffic coming off of Bobby Thompson Way as well as on Agnes Way off the Linford Pearson Highway. Looking to the west on the West Bay Road in front of the Ritz, traffic is moderate in both directions and also coming from the West Bay 4-way stop. Edward Street, traffic flowing at a good pace, as well as on Schoolhouse Road. That's what's happening on your roads. Join us again at about 10 minutes after 12 o'clock, we'll give you another traffic report.
Subway makes it easy for you to stay on top of your health and wellness goals with our Fresh Fit menu options. Choose from 5 Fresh Fit Subway sandwiches with only 450 calories or less per 6-inch sub. Turkey breast, veggie, oven roasted chicken, Black Forest ham, sweet onion chicken teriyaki, or make your 6-inch Fresh Fit sub into a salad or wrap prepared with fresh vegetables. For a full menu and nutritional information, visit subway.ky. Subway. Eat fresh.
The traffic report is brought to you by Subway. Planning a meeting, event, or office celebration? Visit subway.ky to place your catering order today.
Due to infrastructure upgrades, customers on Woodland Drive and Walbridge Drive off Shamrock Road in Lower Valley will experience interruptions to their electrical service on Wednesday, May 25th between 9 a.m. and 2 p.m. For more information on the outage, please contact CUC's customer service team at 949-5200 or email service@cuc.ky.
The Civil Service Association asks her members to join us on May 26 at 1 p.m. to choose our next Management Council at the 2022 Annual General Meeting. We're looking for a few good people to help us mature into an active, well-known, and indispensable employee organization. This is an exciting opportunity to give back while developing your leadership skills in employee rights and relations. Visit us at sixa.ky to learn more.
Whether it's routine care or highly complex surgery, when it comes to your health, you want the best. Health City has Cayman's most comprehensive range of in-house medical services. Recognized for quality and excellence, Health City brings together expert doctors, the best technology, and the latest techniques to understand your health and ensure you get the care you need. From Camana Bay to East End, you can trust the team at Health City. Health City, world-class healthcare within your reach.
For the record, with Ort Connor.
Initiating system. For information that matters. For the record, with Ort Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. As I told you earlier, we're going to continue to have an open line for you until 9 o'clock when we will have guests in the studio. What I hadn't shared with you yet this morning is the latest update that was received in relation to COVID-19 vaccination. And this was issued on the 21st of May, 2 days ago. And it says Public Health Department has announced COVID-19 vaccination clinics for children aged 5 to 11 following the latest arrival of Pfizer pediatric vaccine. Childhood vaccination clinics are by appointment only and will be offered throughout the districts of Grand Cayman and in the Sister Islands. Appointments can be made by contacting the public health clinic from 8:30 a.m. until 3 p.m. at 926-8152 or 926-8733 in Grand Cayman, or in the Sister Islands 244-7643 as well. And it goes on to say that the pediatric vaccine will be administered 12 weeks apart between the first and second doses as well. And there's additional information on that, but you can certainly go to the public health website to get the additional information if you need it also. So we also had the update in terms of the figures, and this was issued on Friday, the 20th of May. And positive cases reported to the public health during the period as follows: for Wednesday the 18th, 141. Thursday the 19th, 131. There are, at that time, there was 1,785 estimated cases of COVID-19 in the Cayman Islands. 8 persons currently hospitalized for COVID-19 related causes, and of those, 5 were unvaccinated. And the 7-day rolling average for May 20th was 121 cases. That's a daily rolling average as well. So again, folks, we keep saying that we should not let our guards down, that we need to continue to ensure that we adhere to all of the COVID-19 protocols as far as safety is concerned. You should, if you still feel so, you should wear your masks. And of course, you should be wearing masks where, in those instances where masks are mandated as well. I see where the Royal Bermudan Regiment was in North Carolina training, and something like 30 of the members of the regiment who were there training contracted COVID-19, tested positive for COVID-19 as well. We know that travel has increased into the Cayman Islands as well as out. People are, traveling more, visiting, going shopping during the holidays, whatever. You want to ensure that you please be careful and ensure that you observe all of the protocols and ensure that you protect yourself. Switching gears, on Friday, one of our listeners, and I didn't get an opportunity to share this, and I'll paraphrase it because it's fairly long, but they were lamenting the fact that an individual who had been threatening people with either firearm and may have been arrested for being in possession of a knife as well. But irrespective of the details, it seems as if their concern has to do. Ms. Susan, I'm going to ask you to just mute the mic for a second so I can sneeze. Okay, so their concern has to do with the fact that this individual was granted bail. It seems as if police bail may have been granted in the first instance, and when the person then appeared in court, they may have been granted further bail as well. And I'm not a lawyer, so I can't dispense any legal advice, but based on what I know, there are several purposes that bail requiring or holding someone without bail or offering bail serve. One has to do with ensuring that the person will appear in court if they're being given court bail, that they appear in court at the time that they're scheduled to appear. If it's police bail, then that the person will appear back at the police station at the time that has been allocated for them to return. At the same time, this person's concern has more to do with public safety than anything else, because it would appear as if that person who has made those threats, because of their continued presence in the community, they pose a potential threat based on the threats that they have made. They pose a potential threat to individuals and to the community as well. So this person has concern about that. We see in other jurisdictions, for instance, New York under their former Mayor Bill de Blasio and their their legislature there, they had quite liberal bail laws. People were given bail for a variety of reasons, some very, very serious offenses, and people are up in arms against that. That was when you had a more progressive leaning administration. That seems to be changing as well in New York. So here in the Cayman Islands, this individual has concern about the bail policy. I even heard someone remarking, talking about the Cubans here and the fact that we don't even have tracking devices, for them, and other reasons as well. And that's for another discussion as well. So while we're talking about in law enforcement, I'll share with you 55 years ago, 20th of May 1967, Bordentown News. I'm not sure who the writer of this particular article was. We know that Miss Roseline Jackson, she reported the Savannah News. I'm not sure who did the Bordentown News. But here is a viewpoint in relation to recruits to the police. It was then called the police force, not the Royal Cayman Islands Police Service. It was called the police force. And the article starts off by saying that it appears by the new faces and uniforms seen that quite a few recruits have joined the police force. Goes on to say that we're proud to know our own young men have decided to make a career of it, and trust all who join will live up to the high principles that the police department upholds. Folks, remember now, this is 55 years ago. Goes on to say that the government today is able to offer better wages with free uniforms, etc. And we feel that everyone will be able to maintain his family from it, especially if he works his way up to a higher income bracket. The article goes on to say that to find employment at home instead of having to go away to sea, as so many others have to, is a good thing by itself. Goes on to say that we hope plans have been made and money available to build more comfortable quarters for the department, as they have put up with the bare necessities for a very long time. A large and better prison is also a very pressing need. Prisons in many parts of the world are more or less self-maintaining, and the same could be done here if the supervision could be provided. We trust all law-abiding citizens will give every assistance they can when they hear and see things that will assist the police in their investigation in the suppression of crime in this fair isles of ours. So there we go. The 55 years ago, Caymanian recruits in the Royal Cayman Islands Police Service. It provided an alternative for those persons who no longer wanted to go to sea to be able to join. And we have seen some of you, have been sharing pictures online with some of the policemen, persons like Mr. Johnny McLean and others, Mr. Rodder Watler, all of those photographs of Caymanian policemen. And of course, many of you lament the fact that we have a Royal Cayman Islands Police Service now that undoubtedly has a lower percentage of Caymanians serving as officers than we had in the past. I do believe we have a caller. Let's go to the phone lines. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Yes, good morning, my friend. How are you?
Good morning. I'm fine. How are you? How are things? I heard you getting a little precipitation up that way.
Yeah, man. Really blessing. It's a blessing, man.
Good.
Everything was so dry and hot.
Yes.
But this is a real blessing this morning, man.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, OC, believe it or not, today is exactly 1 year since that fake news that came out about me.
Oh, boy, time goes really fast. Yeah.
I couldn't believe it. I looked at it. I said, but today is that the 23rd, and you know. Yeah, man. But get back to the when you had the governor on. I forget when the date was, but the governor is he not in charge of?
It was on a Wednesday. Gone what? This coming Wednesday will be 2 weeks.
Yes, I think. Yeah. But I gotta ask you a question. Is he not in charge of any crown properties on Cayman Islands or in the Commonwealth, or about? Is he not the one that you would have to contact if anybody wanted to purchase or do?
Well, it's done through the cabinet, but the governor has to assent to it, I believe. I'll do a little bit of research on it and address it later. But yes, he is involved in the sale of Crown land. Let me do some search. Yeah. You keep talking, and I'll do some searching in the meantime.
Yeah, but in the meantime, another point I want to bring up. I know we are about to celebrate the Queen Platinum Jubilee or something.
Mm-hmm.
Now, was England not responsible to pay survivors of slaves back in some day there?
Yeah, well, there are many countries in the Caribbean and elsewhere that are seeking what is called reparations for slavery. Of course, we here in the Cayman Islands, we haven't heard much of a call about that because don't forget now, very little was said about slavery in the Cayman Islands. As a matter of fact, we had a tendency to say that it was on such a small scale that it wasn't that impactful. Now we know better. We know better than that. Exactly. But we here in the Cayman Islands we are mum when it comes to the whole issue of slavery. But that is one of the reasons why you hear this quiet apology being made about slavery, but they don't want to come out and fully apologize because they know by so doing they're acknowledging to a certain extent their responsibility.
Yeah, but we continue to celebrate this monarch. I mean, why are we celebrating this when you robbed us of our ancestors, taking them from Africa, West Africa, and bringing them here and selling them? I mean, how can that be possible, or how can that go on without them repaying some of the survivors of these slaves?
Yes, yeah.
It's ridiculous, man, when you really think of it.
And the slap in the face that people talk about as well is the fact that I think it was only just quite recently that the British government finished paying off the debt that they had. They paid the slave owners $20 million in the 1800s, $20 million, for the loss of their slaves. And of course, they paid the slaves absolutely nothing, for the loss of their freedom.
Well, what about the slaves?
Yes.
Or the survivors of slaves?
Yep. Got to go to a break, but please feel free to call back if you want. We still have another half an hour before we have guests in the studio. Folks, please stay tuned. For the record, we'll be back shortly.
Since March 2004, West Bay Pharmacy has kept their doors open to the local communities, even before, during, and after Hurricane Ivan. At West Bay Pharmacy, our staff provides so much more than pharmaceutical excellence. From the moment you walk through our doors to completing your cash out, our staff will have put your healthcare concerns at ease. We would like to take this moment to thank our loyal friends and customers. To us at West Bay Pharmacy, our patients are our primary concern. We provide thorough background checks and precise calculations to ensure your medical safety. Thank you for being a part of our family and for choosing West Bay Pharmacy, where we care about your health.
What's that? No sugar, same amazing taste? Coca-Cola Zero Sugar is here to stay. Classic taste, pure satisfaction. Be sure to stop into any Tortuga location and get your own case of Coke Zero. Or grab an ice-cold one straight from the cooler. Brought to you by Tortuga Distributors Limited. Coca-Cola, taste the feeling, K-Man.
Make your house into a home. Welcome to Brand Source Home Gallery, your source for premium products and a premium experience. We'll design and install your dream kitchen with crafted cabinets, complemented with elegant appliances. We'll fill it with quality houseware and cookware. Custom-designed closet and storage solutions organize and beautify any area. And with the finest bedding, you'll get a perfect night's sleep knowing Brand Source Home Gallery has everything you need to make your house a home.
System 1 loaded.
1-800-534-8255. What is on your mind when it comes to the government, independence, and the opposition? Issues that matter to you. 1-800-534-8255. Waiting to hear from you. For the record.
This is For the Record with Ort Connor.
Good morning. Welcome back to For the Record. Ms. Susan, we have other callers on hold. 2 callers. Let's grab the next caller. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record. Good morning, caller. Welcome to For the Record.
Yeah, morning, Mosi.
Good morning. Good morning. How are you?
Not too bad. I didn't hear the click, so anyhow, good.
That's okay.
Talking about the police, what do you call it? Service. Right now, I'm standing up in front of my police, what do you call it, certificate of discharge or whatever, and it got written on it, and this was in the 80s. Now it says police force, and now they got it as a service. What is the difference between the force and the service? Is to please people and to make everybody comfortable and not a force anymore?
Well, it's a use of, playing semantics. And what they want to convey is that while the police are there to enforce the laws, they're also there to provide a community service as well. So they don't want it to appear as if it's just a heavy-handed role that the police play. That there are other aspect of community work, community service that is involved, that the police is involved in as well. Also, that helps to hopefully give the public a better appreciation and acceptance of the role of the police.
Yeah, well, I guess it sounds much a little easier, make it a little easier that people don't have no fear because it's a service and not a force anymore. But
should you have a fear if you're a law-abiding citizen? Should you have a fear of the police?
No, but I'm talking for the criminals. I'm talking for the criminals. But anyhow, that's just a thought, you know.
Okay.
You have a good day.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Let's grab the next caller. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning.
Good morning. Yeah, again.
Oh,
Did you hear what I said earlier about the Bermuda situation?
I heard you say Bermuda, but I didn't get it.
Well.
But,
okay, you go. You talk first, and I'll tell you afterwards.
Yeah, no, you're not telling me afterwards. You're calling me so I can have a conversation. But listen to me. The police service, the police force. I had 2 family members at one time in the force, and I'm sure they did all the service that they could. And as for those of us who are not in fear of the police nowadays, and I would not disrespect any serving officer who is of good moral conduct. But they're not all that way. And yeah, when you see police coming your way nowadays, you need to have that you feel your heart squeeze that we might not have experienced a long time ago. You feel your heart squeeze because it's just a different time and a different date and a different everything. And I'm waiting for that announcement that you promised us, leaving this morning at 10 o'clock. Because boy, and I can come out of a program on time.
As a former radio host and announcer, you know how it works, right?
Yes, especially when you got somebody controlling everything and you just sitting down. That's why I'm laughing at you, because boy, I can come out of a program on time. I never made it. I never ever made it. But anyhow. Please do not leave and say, but I forgot and I had to get it on Wednesday. But the caller from over in the back, Mr. Precipitation, there is a group out there somewhere that encompasses an international portfolio, seems like to me. And maybe I can look that up and I can give you the information to give homeboy there, because everything he's saying is correct. But I think we need to get over the fact that we are not going to get. That's not going any place in this world.
Reparations? You talking about? It's going to happen. Believe you me, it is going to happen.
Oh, but
I feel pretty confident that it will. As long as we continue to maintain the pressure on them, it will happen. Remember, I don't know, the mama in Kenya, they paid them for torture and illegal detention.
Yeah.
They paid them.
And they do it bits and pieces like that. But for me, reparation means the whole world stands on guard and stands to take the recognition for everything evil, and it was all evil that was done to our forefathers. And I don't think we are going to get that. You get a little bit and a little piece here. But, I mean, in living memory, the Chagos Islands, I used to see newspaper clippings with those noble people standing all over the place and just no recognition and no resolution. And I think this is a conversation for us to have among ourselves and talking about this and that. Slavery in Cayman might not have been long, but Long Celia got her good share out of it. I don't suppose that was a tea party.
Yeah. And people ignore the fact that the long-lasting effects of slavery, to do with education, to do with property ownership and everything else, even in Cayman. The black persons, the former slaves, most of the land that they owned was land that the others felt was of no value whatsoever.
Listen, right where you sitting now, you know it. So if you want to say it, you could say it, or you can get the walking encyclopedia to tell you. Right where you sitting now, from way down to the west of you to up in the airport property, owned by one little Marga woman.
Yep.
And all of agriculture up here, and we calling it now farmers market, and round town belong to my family down Shaden Road. And what? But you see, they want to educate us, and somehow it is that we don't see the need for education for ourselves. We can't get a banker in the family or a doctor or a lawyer and think that we have educated our people. Selfishly and jealously, the education in Cayman is no good to Caymanians. And I think, what's the gentleman's name? Dr. D. McLaughlin wrote a book, and I heard him read an excerpt, and it's the truest thing. The education in Cayman does not benefit the Caymanian. So that is why we are a very educated people, I think.
Yep.
Especially from the high school to the associate level nowadays. But there is nothing in it for us because we have not educated the population. They still don't know. But reparations, I don't know. I don't know. So maybe it will pass me. But hopefully one day, every one of us who are not ashamed to be black and who understand what, to some extent, because if we weren't there, I don't think you could understand, but to some extent, what slavery was, African slavery to the New World was all about, will be able to stand one day and encircle the earth, because this was all over. You'll find a little piece of us, maybe not in great percentages, but all over the world, and hold hands and remember the mothers and the fathers and the brothers and the sisters that we never knew and can never know. But reparations, I'm not holding my breath. I'll fight for it, but I'm not holding my breath anyway. Call me, please.
Thank you. Will do. And of course, one of the legacies of slavery, just look at all of our surnames, the last names that we have. Folks, you may not want to acknowledge this, but they're all slave names. Connor is a slave name. It is not an African name. It is a slave name. We have 2 callers on hold, but what we're going to do, take the commercial break first. This way we can have a full conversation with both callers. Please stay tuned. For the record, we'll be back shortly.
At Doctor's Hospital, we know life happens, and usually when you least expect it. So when unexpected medical issues arise, you need quality care close to home. Located in the heart of Georgetown, our accomplished team of physicians and medical staff treat minor urgent conditions such as migraines, chest and abdominal pain, shortness of breath, burns, broken bones, open wounds, and more. 24 hours, 7 days a week with no appointment necessary. Peace of mind is important when life happens. At Doctor's Hospital, we're always here just for you. Need to speak to someone? Call 949-6066.
JN Money touchdown. Send the money now. Reach wow. You say you need some money. JN Money, I can send it in a hurry. Get through quick when you come collect your cash, or use a money card and swipe it in a flash. Send funds to any bank, yeah. Pay your bills quick, yeah. Low fees, you know it, yeah. JN Money, we are pick, yeah. Send and receive funds at any JN Money location. It's fast, affordable, and convenient. Money touchdown with JN Money. Send funds to any bank, yeah. Pay your bills quick, yeah. Low fees, you know it, yeah. JN Money, we are pick, yeah.
Call 345-945-2014 for details. Available at JN Money locations across the Cayman Islands.
We think it's time you crossed over to a new vehicle. And with the Toyota Corolla Cross now at Vant Motors, you have plenty of reasons to make the switch. The crossover body and hybrid engine is a sleek design in a sturdy structure with a spacious interior that opens to extensive cargo space. Stuck in traffic? The high-performance self-charging hybrid system automatically switches between gas and electric vehicle mode, helping you lower both fuel costs and carbon emissions. The Corolla Cross has full LED lighting inside and out, an integrated display audio system with energy monitor, and a dual-zone climate control system to ensure comfort for all. Test drive the new Toyota Corolla Cross Hybrid today at Vant Motors, Walkers Road.
For the Record with Ort Connor.
Initiating system.
For information that matters. For the Record with Ort Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning. Welcome back to For the Record. Before I go to our callers, just for my good friend in the BRAC, our good friend in the BRAC, there is a piece of legislation called a Governor Vesting of Lands Law 2005 revision, and I will share that with you if the opportunity arises this morning. If not, we will do it on another show to share that with you as well. We have 3 callers on hold, and we expect guests in the studio at 9 o'clock, so we're going to ask everyone to please be as brief as possible. First caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning, Ossie. Hey. Good morning to your esteemed listeners.
Good morning, my friend. How are you?
Fine, thank you. I just want to pick up on the points made by the previous callers.
Mm-hmm.
The first one is about this Silver Jubilee celebration for the Queen. Now, in making this comment, I have to be careful because Cayman is an overseas territory, so there is always a connection with the Crown.
Mm-hmm.
But still, you see, Ossie, when you think of it, what is Cayman celebrating about the Queen and about the Crown? Okay, the relationship is there, yeah, in the sense that it's an overseas territory. But let's face it, at a social level, at an economic level, the relationship has been a bad one.
Mm-hmm.
It was one of slavery. Okay, I know some people try to make light of slavery in the Cayman Islands and to say, well, it was a better kind of slavery.
Yes.
No. Slavery is slavery.
Yep.
You are against your will. You are being made to work and to get paid nothing. You are fed not because they want to feed you as a human being. They fed you because you had to work. The same way they feed an animal. I'm sorry, I have to be very direct. But so when you think about it, I think about some time when I used to go to the Legislative Assembly, right? And there's that prayer they have there. They pray about the health of the personal health of the Queen and the Prince Charles and this and that. Things that the royal family will never even hear. To be frank with you, I doubt that they even care at this level. But they are being maintained as vestiges of the old dictatorship. Let's remember that the Crown used to be a dictator of the Commonwealth in the same way that Kim Jong-un is a dictator of North Korea. You were forced to celebrate and to clap and to do all those things. I think that it is time to think about whether some of these things can be modified a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
If in Parliament you can just perhaps acknowledge the relationship with the UK rather than get into the personal health of the Queen and so on, that just, I think, to the level of demeaning yourself that it takes for that to do is just too much for me.
I'm not even sure that they do that in the UK Parliament anymore.
Oh, you don't think they do that, huh?
I'm not sure.
Yeah, they might not. Some of these things do happen. They do abandon them there. But out here, we continue doing them because nobody has ever really thought about that.
Yeah.
But talking about the whole issue about the slavery and the education, the previous caller mentioned the lack of education in the Cayman Islands about slavery. There's need for education. There's an ideological war out there. There are people who continue to say to this day that black people are lazy. There are people who continue to say that people were happy to be slaves. And that you see, actually, slavery would never have happened if the Africans themselves had not sold their brothers and sisters. You see, these little things which people sort of like when slavery started, there are people who took advantage in other communities are now being cited as if they are causes of slavery. In Cayman, anyway, I should just say, if I can conclude, in Cayman, there's need for education regarding these matters. You have to understand that there's an ideological war, and you must deal also with the modern Caymanian version of Jim and Crow, because now the slavery is gone, but now what is happening is that there's a new Caymanians coming in to enslave you and you, but that's a discussion for another day. Thank you, Ossie.
Thank you very much, Billy. Let's grab the next caller. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Yes, good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, I want to make 2 points.
Sure.
One, and just to mention on the topic of reparation, the BBC last week aired a program named Confronted My Family Slave Owning Class in Grenada. And this reporter went down to Grenada, and she met families who her family, her slave-owning family, had owned, and had a conversation with them.
Yes, I saw that article. Yeah.
And I thought that was interesting because you're not getting any movement from at a governmental level.
Mm-hmm.
And she, at the end of it, made a commitment to start an endowment to benefit the education of young Grenadians. So maybe that would be the way to go to confront the slave-owning families and to ask them to consider their families' action and the wealth and the likes that they have gathered over the years, and the fact that they were paid to own slaves by the government, and the slave owners themselves didn't get a penny.
Mm-hmm.
That's my first point I want to raise.
Yep.
And the second thing is that you started out this morning speaking about the cleanliness of the island, and I was wondering if you're living in Easton, you have to drive Easton and outside the outer districts. You have to drive from there, say with a fridge, a washing machine, into Georgetown with a traffic situation that can be very, very demanding.
Mm-hmm.
And to get to the landfill in Georgetown. Now in Georgetown, there's a drop-off area out front which has about 6 bins, large bins. I'm wondering, because people are coming from all over the island to deposit their waste. I'm wondering if you take one of those bins, and I know it would be a cost-effective way of doing it, take one of those bins and place in each of the districts. You may have less at Georgetown, but you'll also have less people coming there from the outer districts.
Yep.
And you place them in the outer districts, and that would encourage, I believe, people to, instead of dropping them off on the back roads and people's property and the like, that should incentivize them.
Good idea, yeah.
Deposit them into those bins. And also, I believe a next thing to go with that is to increase the fee. Now that you have made it easier for them to deposit their waste in a closer situation, increase the fee so that anybody be found dropping off stuff on people's property by the side of the roads or so, make it very, very difficult for that to happen.
Yeah.
So I think placing those bins, let's say one in Eastern, one in Northside, one in Banton, one in West Bay, and I think that would encourage people, rather than to drop it off and somewhere short of the landfill, to drop it off in those bins, and that would assist in making the island a much cleaner place.
Right, and you think that should be restricted to households only, not to commercial, like say for instance a contractor shouldn't be allowed to
Yes, I think so. If this is a construction site or so, you can take it to the landfill. But in terms of household stuff, I believe, and I'm not saying that I have weeded out all the nitty-gritties.
Sure.
But that can be defined.
The concept,
in the approach and stuff like that. But I still believe that it would incentivize people not only to move stuff from around their house, but when they are doing it, instead of dropping it off short of the landfill, to drop it off in a bin that they know will be picked up, whether it be once a week, continuously. Those details can be worked out, but I think it will incentivize people to use those bins.
Certainly.
Instead of anything else.
Thank you very much for that, caller. We have one last caller. We do have guests coming into the studio. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Yeah, good morning, guys.
Good morning.
All right?
Good morning.
Yes, good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes, loud and clear.
Oh, right on. Hello. I'm from Cayman. I'm African Caymanian myself, actually, and identify with my culture. When I look in the mirror, that's what I see, right? So I'm not mistaken about that. And you're right. Every one of our last names, and this is a conversation that needs to be had, and people don't understand this is not a racist conversation. This is a racial conversation. That if you don't overstand and understand, especially if you're African descendant, all right, you will be subject to racism without even knowing you're being subject to racism. And that is a lot of the problem that we have here. And as far as reparations, I'm not going to get in a deep conversation about that because I know I have brief time here right now. But every one of your last names that's not an African last name, that's the family that owes you. And it doesn't matter whether it happened 100 or 200, 300 years ago. Those people benefited. You didn't. You understand? You are owed something from that spiritually, period. And law is supposed to transform to spiritual and moral rights. You understand? That is your moral right. You understand? You didn't have to fight for equal rights. You had to fight for human rights. And people don't understand also when it goes back to slavery, you just think back to black people in slavery. These slaves weren't just workers. They were the engineers. They were the carpenters. And look at the slave manifest. The slave manifest said these people were skilled in carpentry from Guinea. These people grew rice. Yes, rice, way before the Chinese. All right? These people did that. So they knew what they were getting, what kind of product they were getting when they got it. You understand what I'm saying? Are you with me?
Yes,
right?
yes.
Another thing, when we think of slavery, we don't go back to think of all of the miseducation. Back to education. Some education we get here is good. Majority of it is miseducation to colonize your mind. When you colonize the minds of a plantation, the plantation owner can take off and go on vacation. Those people right there are going to have that Willie Lynch syndrome. Study Willie Lynch, whoever's listening. Google Willie Lynch. I grew up in libraries in Orlando and stuff. Okay? Google Willie Lynch. That is the man who came up with it. First of all, they weren't holding slaves once they got out of the ship. We were destroying plantations left and right. Far and few, okay? Far and wide. Willie Lynch came up with a degree. Divide, rule, conquer. You put different tribes amongst others that don't speak their language, then you divide, rule, and conquer. You give the one in the field a little more food than the next. You give him the whip, all right? Give him a little more. He's going to watch out over what were his brothers, because not all skin folk are kinfolk at this point now, okay? So this is going on. Also, there was buck breaking, all right? Buck breaking is where they sodomized those who were stand-up people in front of the village, in front of their pregnant freaking wives. Have you fear in the people, okay? That's homosexuality. That's where they sodomize young men and babies and women, children. When they say women, you're talking about young girls, okay? You understand? This is documented history. These people had no shame, okay? The head became the tail and the tail became the head. So before slavery, you have to go back now again. You're talking about the original people that gave astrology, okay? Timbuktu, okay? Some of the first in the West, what do you call it, in the Eastern Hemisphere, in the world, okay? What do you call that? Colleges and what have you. What equates to colleges now, all right? Set up by Mansa Musa, richest man in the world. He still would be 300 and sometimes richer than anyone in the world right now. This is a black man, a Negro black man, flat nose, wide nose, big lips. There are 5 different breeds of us if you check our history. And we were the people of creation. Way before Europeans came out of caves. Way before Christoph, the famous Greek mythologist or whatever, who was educated in Egypt, came up with the concept of Jesus after Jesus. And yes, okay? Because during the Hebrew language, there was no J in the Hebrew language.
Caller, I'm going to ask you to leave us there. We have to go to a break so that we can have our guests seated. But thanks, for calling in. We're going to have guests in the studio. We may have phone lines open. If we do, our toll-free number, 1-800-534-8255. You can also call us on 949-8037, 949-6990. We will be talking about teen pregnancy prevention. Please stay tuned for the record. We'll be back shortly.
District to district, moving through the waters to Cayman Bracken, Little Cayman. Your station, your voice. All things Cayman. One radio, many people. This is home.
Radio Cayman in the Cayman Islands.
Radio Cayman, maintaining the innovation.
On a daily basis, making it easy to connect with you, our listeners. Add us to WhatsApp today, 925-3261. That's 925-3261.
Radio Cayman.
Send a text or voice note.
Can I send a request, please?
You don't really have to ask us. Just send a request.
This is a shout out to my ex.
Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands.
Radio Cayman, maintaining the innovation.
Today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman. Your voice, your choice.
Local, regional, international. This is Headlines from Radio Cayman's newsroom.
Today's biggest news.
Public Health reported 272 new cases of COVID for Wednesday and Thursday, 6 of those in the Sister Islands. Cayman went into the weekend with 1,785 estimated active cases. A court in Ukraine has jailed a Russian tank commander for life for killing a civilian in the first war crimes trial since the invasion. The captured soldier was convicted of killing a 62-year-old man in a northeastern village on February 28th. He admitted shooting the man, but said he had been acting on orders and asked forgiveness of his widow. Multiple other alleged war crimes are being investigated by Ukraine. And U.S. President Joe Biden has warned China is, quote, flirting with disaster over Taiwan and vowed to intervene militarily to protect the island if it is attacked. Speaking in Japan, he appeared to contradict long-standing U.S. policy in the region, although the White House insisted there had been no departure. Mr. Biden drew a parallel between Taiwan and Russia's invasion of Ukraine, prompting an angry rebuke from Beijing. He is on his first tour of Asia as U.S. president, visiting regional allies. Those are your headlines. I'm Karsley Fuller.
For the latest in news and information,
follow Radio Cayman on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Download the Radio Cayman app or log on to our website, radiocayman.gov.ky.
For the record, with Ort Connor.
Initiating system.
For information that matters. For the record, with Ort Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning. Welcome back to For the Record. I had to take my mask off. Don't talk too well with the mask on. But, of course, we practice our social distancing and everything else here. As I promised you earlier, we will be talking about teen pregnancy prevention. And it is my pleasure to have in the studio with me Miss Charmaine Miller, who's the clinical supervisor at the Family Resource Center, and also in the studio with us is Miss Kenzie Wright. And your designation is, what's your title over there?
I'm a parent facilitator to the Family Resource Center.
Parent facilitator at the, and we do have someone else that joined us on by phone, phone link as well.
That's right. She can introduce herself.
Yes. Hello. We're going to have you introduce yourself as well.
Hi, good morning. My name is Ravella. I'm a program support worker at the Family Resource Center.
Okay, so you're going to stay on the phone and join us as well. Well, I know one thing for certain. Once I have Ms. Charmaine in the studio with me, I don't have to worry about looking for words and stuff like that. She is
expectations.
She is well versed. She knows her stuff, and she can certainly keep us engaged as well. So I'm going to throw the mic right over to you.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that warm introduction. So May is actually Teen Pregnancy Prevention Month, and we have really focused on, our theme overall for this campaign is I Am Worth the Wait. Okay. And so what it's about is about educating. We focus both parents and teenagers. For the parents, obviously, it's about educating them and making them feel comfortable with a conversation of sex and sexual health and, what's the roadmap when it comes to talking to your children as they develop, right, in order to avoid issues like these, social issues like this teen pregnancy issue. And so for the children or the teenagers, it's really focused on educating them and understanding their value, their worth as teenagers and the value of the future, right? And so this month we've gotten very creative around, well, how do we channel all this information? Kenzie earlier on, actually towards the end of last month, she did a parenting webinar that was focused on talk early, talk often, and so she'll elaborate on that a little bit more. That was the parenting angle of things. But when we talk about teenagers, actually, we are working on the development of a video graphic that's going to be quite creative, and the focus of it is the teenagers so that they can understand how engaging or having sex earlier on when you're really not prepared to do so or you're not matured enough to do so can have a negative impact on your future and your overall life, right? And that's the prevention angle that we take oftentimes. Okay. It's not really this scare tactic of don't do it. You're not meant to be doing it, but it's more of let's get you to think. Let's get you to think about what happens when you do, what are the do's and what are the don'ts of that, right? And the impact that it's going to have on your overall quality of life.
Okay. Ms. Wright?
Okay. So just before we launched our campaign, we did our talk early, talk often, and we just spoke about the importance of many times when they're teenagers. Many times with teenagers, you think, okay, they're about to turn 16. It's time to have that big talk now, the birds and the bees conversation. But we really want to challenge that and say these conversations need to start as young as 4 years old. And we're talking about boundaries. We're talking about values. We're talking about how to say no when you feel uncomfortable and honoring that no for the child. Just modeling that, and as the child grows and they understand more and more of what's important to them and that they can say no when they feel uncomfortable and they know what is their areas and so forth, and being able to name the areas. It comes from a child protection perspective as well, as well as empowering children. So when they do become teenagers and they do start thinking about becoming sexually active, they come from a point of education and knowledge, and they understand sexual health. So when they are maturing and they're going through puberty, it's not like they're having all of these hormones and they don't know how to move forward with that and make good decisions, because there are many consequences to teen pregnancy as well as having underage sex as well.
So how do we, the challenges that we have in relation to those persons who are old school and say you shouldn't be talking about these things at an early age,
right?
And when the science and the empirical evidence points to the fact that the earlier you do it, the better. How do we overcome those obstacles?
Well, I think it's about, and what Kenzie's talking about, I mean, it's so important. It's having those conversations in an age-appropriate way, right? We're not telling you to tell your 8-year-old exactly how everything happens in the bedroom, right? It's not about that. It's about as early as 4, and what Kenzie said, let's talk about your body parts. And let's be comfortable talking about penises, vaginas, bottoms, breasts, and all of that, right? And name them appropriately. As they continue to grow, you know, let's talk about consent, right? When they become teenagers, or even as early as 12, let's talk about how, you know, instead of saying the birds and the bees, right, let's talk exactly about how actually you come to being, right? And allowing that child to direct that conversation also, as opposed to imposing yourself onto them because FRC says this is something that we have to do, right? I need to train you up so that you're ready. But it's really about given those nuggets of knowledge in an age-appropriate way so that they can actually think about it and their little brains are able to conceptualize it and ask those relevant questions. And so it's interesting that you're saying, how do I get comfortable with that? Because even for me, you know, being in the field, I have an 11-year-old now, right? And so I've used as a, you know, way of passing on this information to him, books, right? Books are such an easy way to kind of just like get creative, as opposed to me saying, this is what you need to know, right? And they have so many resources right now. You know, I go to Book Nook, I go to Humane Society, right? They have a lot of books available, whether it's free, whether they're books that you want to purchase, and just get creative around that. Social media, you know, that's the other teacher, unfortunately, or just YouTube and whatnot, when they're coming across things that, you know, might be a little bit, they're too young to stumble across those things. Having a conversation with them as opposed to just shunning them away is very useful.
Right, bring that mic a little bit away from you.
Okay.
Okay, not too far, not too far. Okay, sorry about that.
No, that's fine. So yeah, it's really about you getting comfortable. And if you don't know how to say things, or you're a little bit concerned about the language that you should use, do your own research, right? Do your own research around, and it's something as simple as, how do I talk to my 12-year-old about sex, right? And getting comfortable with that material, getting comfortable with that information, so that then you can actually go to them and say, hey, I know I realized that I haven't really been talking to you about this as early as I should have, but it's never too late. What questions do you have? Right? We recently, we were at the Thai Lounge, and we recently spoke to, it was a group of teenagers, and it was nice in terms of diversity. We had both boys and girls. A lot of the times, unfortunately, we only get a lot of girls, right? But our boys were so open. And when we asked the question, well, where did you get your information about sex? And it was so, for me, I mean, I still consider myself to be quite young, right? But for me, it was shocking to hear them say Netflix. Right? There's this show called Sexual Education. Is that what it's called? Sexual Education on Netflix. And that's where they're getting a lot of their information from. Netflix, YouTube, right? as well as their peers. So the reality is that we as parents, we're not doing our part in informing them the correct information that they need to know, right? Because we're not comfortable with it. Because it's something that maybe kind of like, we don't do that here, right? But we need to break away from those stigmas or those barriers and get comfortable and teach them exactly what they need to know, as opposed to shunning that away from them.
Now, how can our educational system or curriculum, how can that help in this regard?
You're throwing me into the fire.
Are there any obstacles there?
Wow, you're throwing us into the fire. We are civil servants. But we're actually doing some stuff in the schools. There's not a sexual education curriculum, and that is the fact, right? In our education system. However, the schools do invite us to participate and do a little bit of those pieces, but not always coming from an angle of sexual education, but it's more preventative. And we are going to several schools. Kenzie, do you want to make reference to those? We're going to Georgetown Primary, John A. Cumber.
I believe we're going to Red Bay Primary
Red
as
Bay
well.
Primary, and we're going to be doing our teen pregnancy prevention campaign.
And that starts this week.
That starts this week. So it's a 6-week workshop, right? And so they've invited us to that. So there's that opportunity to actually speak to, and we're targeting 5th graders and 6th graders and talk about setting boundaries, what healthy relationships look like, body parts, body images, all that really good stuff, and just ensuring that they are aware and having those age-appropriate conversations with them so that they're empowered, right? And they understand the changes that they're going through physically as well as mentally.
Okay, Ms. Loella, we don't want to leave you out of the conversation.
I'm here.
Okay, anything you want to add to what has been said so far?
None at the moment.
Okay.
Can we hear it here?
Yes. So we can also speak to what we're doing on our end in addition to the school-based intervention. And Lavella, maybe if you could touch on YPS as a whole, that would be useful.
All right. So I'm the coordinator for the Young Parent Services Program at the Family Resource Center. What the Young Parent Services Program is a program dedicated to young parents between the ages of 13 and 26. We do not only cater to women, we cater to men as well. It provides psychoeducational courses in parenting, employment, pre- and postnatal health. And during my time working with the Young Parent Services Program, I've seen that there's a lot of boundaries that led to them becoming, pregnant at a young age, whether that being not having the resources to, understand safe sex before time, barriers such as educational barriers. A lot of them were able to, graduate high school with an appropriate degree.
Okay, we're going to take a commercial break. Ms. Loella, you're going to stay right there on the line. And, of course, we have Ms. Charmaine Miller and Ms. Kenzie Wright in the studio with us. We're talking about this being Child Month. We're talking about teen pregnancy prevention, what is being done here in the Cayman Islands, some of the challenges that are being faced, how those challenges can be overcome as well. So, folks, please stay tuned. For the record, we'll be back shortly.
What's that? No sugar, same amazing taste? Coca-Cola Zero Sugar is here to stay. Classic taste, pure satisfaction. Be sure to stop into any Tortuga location and get your own case of Coke Zero. Or grab an ice cold one straight from the cooler. Brought to you by Tortuga Distributors Limited. Coca-Cola, taste the feeling, Cayman.
Are you feeling sick, but don't feel ill enough to go to the doctor? Ask your pharmacist for advice. Here at West Bay Pharmacy, our pharmacists have been trained to offer helpful, easy-to-understand advice on the treatment of everyday minor ailments for yourself and all the family. Anything from headaches, cough and sore throat, to cold sores, our pharmacist will know when medical help is needed and will not hesitate to refer you to your doctor if your symptoms demand it. Like doctors, our pharmacists have a professional code, which means all personal information you give them will be treated in the strictest confidence. Visit us today at West Bay Pharmacy, where we care about your health.
Hi, I'm remodeling a bathroom. I have a few questions.
Sure.
What are some ideas to make my bathroom feel larger? How do I know if I'm picking the right vanity? How do I choose a new toilet or a new countertop? Also, the lighting is terrible. Can I put a window or a skylight? And do I really need an exhaust fan?
You've come to the right place. At Brand Source, we custom design kitchen and baths, and our talented design team can help answer your questions. Whether you're looking for a modern, functional family bathroom or a luxurious personal retreat, we'll help create that beautiful space that makes your home yours. And if you're in a rush for a new look and have a limited budget, our ready-to-install bathroom vanities, built with solid wood and countertops of the finest materials, are a quick and easy remodeling solution.
For the very best in custom-designed kitchens and baths, visit Brand Source Home Gallery on Dorsey Drive, Industrial Park, Cayman's Kitchen and Bath Center.
For the record, with Ort Connor.
Initiating system.
For information that matters. For the record, with Ort Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning. Welcome back to For the Record. We're talking about teen pregnancy prevention. In the studio, we have Miss Kenzie Wright and Miss Charmaine Miller. And on the phone, we have Miss Luella. The how do you, and I have to make sure that I word this correctly. How do you deal with situations where young persons believe that it may be trendy to get pregnant early, either because they have seen a friend or a colleague become pregnant, or for whatever reasons they may have that they want to become pregnant early? How do you deal with such a challenge?
Well, I think we need to look at the root causes, right? When we talk about teen pregnancy, and the research speaks to root causes being them not having adequate information, adequate access to contraceptives, family support, and the peer pressure of it all. So I'm going to stick with peer pressure as well as their definition of what healthy relationship looks like, right? Because oftentimes what we see in our realm of work is teen mothers that become pregnant, and for the great majority of them, it is because they didn't have the contraceptives, they didn't have the education. But then you have that one or two of them that became pregnant because of fear of losing their partner, right? And so that's a reality, and that comes down to their definition of healthy, unhealthy relationships and what was modeled to them, right? And so the fear of losing that person that in their eyes represents love, right? Security, safety, stability, all of that results in them, unfortunately, choosing that path. So we always say change begins at home, right? And so oftentimes we put responsibility on the teachers, on the whole system, on the country, right, to fix these issues without recognizing that we're huge agents of change, right? And so modeling what that relationship looks like with your partner, or as a single mother, when you are talking to your child about healthy relationships, talking about what that looks like and what does true love look like, right? And what does, when you're not ready to have sex, what should that response be like from your partner? Should it be one where they're forceful? And if they are, what should be your response, right? So it's really about modeling appropriate boundaries and teaching your child how to say no. Kenzie spoke about that earlier on, right? The value of consent. We, in our workshops, we focus so heavily on consent, right? Dating violence is real. It's real, right? And so recognizing that when I say no, it means no. And when I'm violated by that, I have a right to speak up, right? And I shouldn't be judged accordingly. It doesn't matter if I'm married, if I'm in a consensual relationship, but I still have that right to say no, no matter how far we've gotten, becoming intimate. So I really think, to answer your question, it's about modeling. It's about modeling that, and it's never too late to have those frank conversations. And even if, as a parent, I may have made a mistake in, being with someone unhealthy. Unfortunately, my children have witnessed that. But being able to go back to say, hey, you know what? That's not okay. It's not okay to hold on to someone just because you feel comfortable with them, or you feel like you truly love them, and giving them your all, becoming intimate with them just because you feel like you have to, right?
And from a parenting perspective as well, it's so important that you are that primary source of information for your child. And that may be difficult, but how you can try and knock down those walls that may be built up is just having honest and open conversations and letting your child know, if you're not ready to talk about it now, we can talk about it a little bit later, but I want you to know that whenever you are ready, this is something that we can talk about. So, and the more, it may be uncomfortable, but the more you do it, the more practice you get. So if you make a mistake the first time as a parent, having this conversation and you're thinking, wow, I could have handled that a lot better, again, it's just constant conversations regarding and using real life examples. So even if you're just watching a movie with your child and you see something that doesn't align to the family values that you have, you can pause the show and say, well, what would have you done in that situation? Or how could she have handled that better? This is what I would have done. Or do you see anything wrong with this? And just using these examples that we have in our days, our regular days, and applying some knowledge to them so that they can, you know, empower themselves as they move forward and start dating and recognizing unhealthy relationships again. The term for it now is red flags. What is a red flag and what should you accept and what should you not accept going forward. And if you are dating, you can come and tell me about this and we can have that conversation. Because at the end of the day, teenagers will date. So it's important that you set the stage and you set the precedent so that they are comfortable. If anything does happen, they can come to mommy or daddy or another trusted primary caregiver or any. And if it's not mom or dad, who else could I turn and talk to? And identifying those people. If you don't feel comfortable talking to me, who else could you talk to? And identifying them. So if they are ever in that situation, they can do that.
Okay. Two things I'd like to for us to cover as well. One, role modeling. How big a factor is that, especially, you know, parents.
Yeah.
The other thing that we'd like to talk about is cultural values. And here in the Cayman Islands, because we have people from so many different cultures and their whole approach to sex and the age of children, especially adults, and their approach to children, you know, how do we deal with that?
Yeah.
How challenging is that?
Yeah.
And then also, do we have any empirical evidence in relation to teen pregnancies? Are we seeing it more in broken families as opposed to families that are quote unquote stable as well? I know I've thrown a lot at you at once, but
yeah. Well, the stats is an interesting one that we can tackle now. We recently, in preparation for this campaign, received the statistics for the past 2 years on teen pregnancy from the Health Services Authority. And what the statistic demonstrates is that teen pregnancy has decreased.
Okay,
and that matches international statistics too. In terms of the reasoning behind it, there's no clarity around exactly or to pinpoint what is the reason. Some researchers are speculating that there's more access to contraceptives, right? That could be one. And two, it could be that teenagers are delaying becoming sexually active. And to me, when I was thinking about delaying sexually active, could it be they're on the screens a lot more? There's less opportunities to socialize more nowadays, right? And so that could be causing the delay somewhat too. But that's the good news, right? That we have teen pregnancy on the decrease. The bad news is that there's an increase in repeat of pregnancies locally, right? Now, this is between the ages of 19 to 25. We're seeing that repeat. And I know Lavella can speak to this. We have it in our program, right? We're seeing that repeat in young mothers that are becoming pregnant despite their circumstances not improving, right? And so going back to your question around what is that? What are we contributing that to? For the most part, you could say that they're not having a lot of support. They're coming from impoverished families. Unfortunately, there's that lack of education. Fortunately to us, you know, we don't have to deal with some of those cultural expectations or norms that are practiced in other parts of the world, such as forced marriages, right? We don't have to deal with that, but we do have our societal norms too, right? And so that's the sad news, unfortunately, that we're seeing more repeat pregnancies. And what that does is that it puts a strain on the country overall because we're having young mothers unemployed, not in a situation, you know, to actually care for their children fully. Fortunately, through our program, we're able to provide those and meet those barriers to some extent. But it also it sets up a child up for failure, unfortunately, right? Your question around role modeling, it's crucial The way we talk about sex, the way we talk about sexual health, all of that in itself is the way our children are going to be talking about it, right? The way we choose who we choose as partners, how we talk about ourselves, about our families, about our coworkers, they're all listening, right? And so oftentimes I like to say, we are on a stage. We're on a stage for our children. Right, we are the actors in this, and they are the spectators. They're watching every single thing that we're doing, the good, the bad, the ugly, right? And believe it or not, it was so funny earlier on. I was talking to Kenzie, and we were preparing for this, and I said, for me personally, my mother was always very open from very early about just, following the research in terms of talking about body parts when I was 8 and all of that as I continued. But when I became intimate, that conversation stopped, right? It didn't continue. And it was kind of like, well, when I needed her the most, she wasn't really there. But she educated me enough about it where I knew, once you become sexually active, you have to visit a doctor, right? To make sure that you know everything about what's going on in your body and the changes that you're going to be going through, right? And you get your contraceptives and whatnot. So Kenzie, being her sweet self, she was like, well, she wasn't there for you then, but you were educated enough to actually go on your own and do that and seek out the resources. And I said, well, that's funny. I've never thought of it that way. All along, I'm like blaming her. Why weren't you there? But she did. She gave me the resources for that. And so that really made me think, your parents aren't really meant to be your best friends. And even though as a teenager, I'm not going to go to my mom and say, so I've started having sex, right? I'm not going to do that because I don't feel comfortable with that. And who knows how they're going to respond to that. But at least giving them the information and the resources, Kenzie's going to speak to the resources available on Island, is going to allow them to make an informed decision, right?
Okay, so we're going to ask, I think you mentioned, Ms. Luella, about, some of the stats and what's happening, within your own programs and stuff.
YPS program.
Yeah. Okay, sure. Ms. Luella?
Yes, I just want to touch base on, pair relationships. And when we speak about pair relationships, we're not only talking about, in the schools, we're talking about in the family as well. So that can be older brother, older sister, cousin, and so on. So when in a family, if you have a younger sibling, and your parent is not around, because in Cayman we do have a lot of single family household where it's just mom and kids, right?
Yes.
So when we do have a relationship like that, we want to make sure that as an older sibling, you're portraying the right relationship to your brother or sister, telling them the things that mom couldn't get the chance to tell them, because mom's working. You don't want to take up the place of being the parent, but you want to take up the place of being an older sister and not wanting to see, your younger sibling go through the things that you went through, not having those thoughts, being more informed for them, telling them, okay, make sure if someone's going to touch you here, tell them, no, this is not appropriate. And if something does happen at school, at work, you go to someone that's older, you go to a teacher, you go to a security guard, a police officer, if you're in public, let them know, somebody touched me here and I don't like it. This is who the person is. Just keeping them as informed as possible. And when it comes to our Young Parent Services program, it is very shocking, the repeat pregnancies in households who are impoverished, as Ms. Charmaine said. And I think it speaks to a fact of them not getting the correct modeling for, secure relationships, not understanding, I don't need to have babies with someone for them to stay. I don't need to allow myself to be, taken over by someone else just for them to feel okay. I think that's a big reason for, the repeat pregnancies and not feeling secure in relationships.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much for that. We're going to take a commercial break. I want to remind you that we're talking about teen pregnancy prevention. That conversation taking place with Ms. Luella, who you heard on the phone with us, also Ms. Charmaine Miller and Ms. Kenzie Wright. When we return, one of our listeners has sent us a message as well, and I will share that with you as soon as we return. So please stay tuned for the record. We'll be back shortly.
We think it's time you crossed over to a new vehicle. And with the Toyota Corolla Cross now at Vant Motors, you have plenty of reasons to make the switch. The crossover body and hybrid engine is a sleek design in a sturdy structure with a spacious interior that opens to extensive cargo space. Stuck in traffic? The high-performance self-charging hybrid system automatically switches between gas and electric vehicle mode, helping you lower both fuel costs and carbon emissions. The Corolla Cross has full LED lighting inside and out, an integrated display audio system with energy monitor, and a dual-zone climate control system to ensure comfort for all. Test drive the new Toyota Corolla Cross Hybrid today at Vant Motors, Walkers Road.
At Doctors Hospital, we know life happens, and usually when you least expect it. So when unexpected medical issues arise, you need quality care close to home. Located in the heart of Georgetown, our accomplished team of physicians and medical staff treat minor urgent conditions such as migraines, chest and abdominal pain, shortness of breath, burns, broken bones, open wounds, and more. 24 hours, 7 days a week with no appointment necessary. Peace of mind is important when life happens. At Doctors Hospital, we're always here just for you. Need to speak to someone? Call 949-6066.
If you care about your car's performance and fuel economy, you must fill up at Jose's Escape with the new Pier 93. Experts know that the higher the octane rating, the better your engine will perform. Pier 93 is the highest octane fuel available in Cayman. Protect your car against pre-ignition and engine knocks. Top up your tank now with Pier 93 at Jose's Rubis and enter to win an awesome track bike. But there's more. Jose's offers 2 lateral flow test kits for only $10. The best KN95 masks, 2 for $5. And 10 stylish black surgical masks are only $5. Share the love. Purchase Reflections gift certificates and enter to win the amazing Trek bike.
Join us on June 8th for the annual RF Economic Outlook Conference, where speakers include Dex Torok, executive at Facebook and Google, John Cidilettis, geopolitical consultant to the U.S. Department of State, Keith Herman, serial tech entrepreneur and blockchain expert, and global innovation strategist Sean Kanungo. Registration is now open. Find out more at rfeoc.com.
For the record with Ort Connor.
Initiating system.
For information that matters. For the record with Ort Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. I want to remind you that this month is Teen Prevention Month here in the Cayman Islands, and we're having this discussion with Miss Charmaine Miller, Miss Kenzie Wright, and Miss Luella, who's on the phone as well. One of our listeners has written in and said, good morning to you and your panel. Teen pregnancy has always been a major concern to me from the perspective of grown men impregnating young girls, sometimes under 16 years old. This is a crime that impacts the girl, the child, and the society forever. Please speak to the prosecution of these perpetrators or lack thereof in the Cayman context. And then they go on to say, what are the best preventative measures? Could be from the standpoint of having heavier or weightier sentences, ? Or education, ? as well. Okay?
Okay. Thank you so much for that question. So let's start with the law. The age of consent in the Cayman Islands for boys and girls is 16 years old. So she was absolutely right saying that it is breaking the law if the child is under the age of 16. So if you know of anybody within the community who is having sex under the age of this age, then it's important that you are an agent of change in your community and you do report it. So who can you turn to when this happens? We have MASH, which is our multi-agency safeguarding hub, which is part of the government. And we also have our Department of Family Services. You can make a report and it will remain completely anonymous if you so choose. And the number for doing so is 945-0545. You can also send an email, but I'll repeat the number again, 945-0545. So if this is happening in the community and you are aware of it, please report it so change can be made, because if it's not known about, then change cannot happen. Preventative measures. Regarding the law, I am not an expert on the law, so to speak, as a lawyer, but I can definitely speak to the importance of education. Education in terms of what is available on island. Education in empowering our youth to know what are their values, what are their boundaries, what's important to them and what they would like to uphold. If something happens, who can they turn to? Whether it's a school counselor, which has been introduced into all of our government schools, and it is in private schools as well, whether it's a family member, a trusted adult. Who can you turn to in regards to government agencies? We have the Family Resource Center. If you would just like some parenting support as to, I would like to have these conversations with my child. What do they look like? Okay, let's practice and let's model what it may look like. And how can you start applying this into your household? When will you do this in your household? And set those goals. Department of Family Services. Again, in a case like this, please turn to them. MASH, again, this is who you must report to if this happens.
Can you expand a little bit about MASH and what does it consist of?
Sure.
You know, the various agencies and everything?
Sure. So MASH, as Kenzie mentioned, Multi-Agency Safeguarding Hub, it follows this the UK model, right? And it's really and truly a hub that constitutes of DCFS, RCIPS, and HSA.
Okay.
Right? And so they're meant to be working together on child safeguarding matters. We work very closely with them. They are very much on the ball when it comes to making reports. And a piece of making reports, obviously, is the anonymity of it, right? For us as professionals, we don't have that. You know, we obviously make a report. We feel very strongly about it, and there's no reason to be anonymous on our end. But for community, members of the community, if that's something that makes you feel more comfortable, that's fine, right? That is your right. Making a report is as easy as going online, filling out the information, and the referral form is a form that can seem a little bit overwhelming, but the trick to it is that you don't need to provide every single thing. Sometimes we feel like if we only know the name, date of birth, and address, you know, we don't have enough information, but it is, right? And it is enough information in order to submit a report and for the members of the MASH to actually take it upon themselves and do that social inquiry report. And it's about safeguarding our children, right? That's really what it's about, because children are not, you know, they don't have that responsibility yet where they can protect themselves. So as adults, it's our responsibility. It's our duty of care to make sure that if we know of a teenager or a child that is experiencing any form of abuse, whether it's physical, sexual, emotional, psychological, right, we have that obligation upon ourselves to make that call and make sure that our children are protected.
Okay, Ms. Lorella, anything you want to add to what the caller, what the writer spoke about?
No, my colleagues covered everything that the public should know or needs to know about child safeguarding.
Okay.
Well, I'd like to add,
Sure.
you know, because we talked about culture. We haven't touched on cultural norms very much. Obviously, like I mentioned earlier on, we're fortunate to not be living in a country where we are, you know, the value of being married early is something that's actually favored, right? But as a community, you mentioned obviously Cayman is extremely diverse, right? We're a melting pot. And so we have other cultural norms coming in, right? Obviously, and influencing somewhat, right? So it's really important. What we always say is you have your family rules and your culture that you grew up in. That doesn't change, right? There are certain things, and culture is always changing, and we're living that right now. But the good aspects of it should stay intact, right? And so for me, if I value within my household having that relationship that Kenzie spoke about, that is something that's a value of me, and being around positive-minded people is important to me. So something that I feel that social media or just the internet overall has taken and stripped away from us is that responsibility and that monitoring that's so crucial for our children, right? And so that's an aspect that has been stripped away, and we have to do better on. We have to make sure that we're linking, you know, we're a small community. that we're linking and we're monitoring who our children are talking to, whether that is in person or whether that is on social media. And that's not being overbearing. That's me being a parent, right? That's me being a parent and recognizing that being around positive-minded people is important, and it's going to reduce your level of risk when it comes to peer pressure, when it comes to engaging early on sex when you're not ready to, right? And so we all have our own norms, our own practices. And as a community, obviously, in the past, that's something that we don't talk about sex, right? That's a hush-hush thing. Yes. But recognizing that we are evolving. And now parents that come to us, they want to know how to. So that's a reflection of the fact that our cultural norms are changing when we talk about that. It's just that they may not have the language. And so we always say, we don't want you to sound like us. We want you to talk the way you talk. Just make sure that you're conveying the same message,
yes,
right?
yes.
And that's what parents need to know. You don't have to sound like an expert to have an honest conversation with your child. And if your kid is 13 right now and you haven't had a chance to do it, it's okay. It's never too late. Let's talk about it, you know, and oftentimes bedtimes are good times to talk about it over shows like Kenzie mentioned, sometimes dinner time. Whenever you find is a time that is less intimidating for that child, start the conversation. Talk early and do it often so that it's not something that becomes a shocker for you later on. And unfortunately, there are never negative consequences that come to that.
Let's talk about this age of consent in the Cayman Islands, 16 years of age. I'm sure that was a decision taken by legislators,
right,
whether or not in consultation with others or whether, like so many other things that impact people, it is done by men as opposed to, to females being involved in it, and they making a decision based on their prejudices and based on what they think is not best necessarily for the child, but maybe best, for them. Recognizing that you all are civil servants, but at the same time you're social workers as well.
I know this is
age 16.
He always does this.
Is age 16 an appropriate age when we talk about the age of consent? And what do we mean by the age of consent? Consenting for an adult who is 30, 40, 50 years old to have sexual relations with you? Is that really appropriate?
The topic itself of the age of consent really speaks back to what we were speaking to before. The law is 16 years old. That's a law. Yeah. There's no arguing with it. So how can we prepare our child by the time that they turn 16 that they're equipped with the knowledge and the experience and the values and the boundaries and able to say no and able to say that having a relationship with a 40-year-old man, for example, is not right. And how can we empower them to make better decisions and model these healthy relationships? Because if a 16-year-old is with an older gentleman like that, it's obviously not a healthy relationship, right? So what are the red flags? How can they speak and talk to other professionals or individuals or family members and say, this is what's going on, what advice do you give? And they have honest, open communication again, so you don't close that door. And as Charmaine was saying, these conversations can feel uncomfortable, but do it over an activity. For example, you can be playing a game and say, and then again, it speaks again to the 16 years old, they're living under your house. Are you monitoring who they are talking to?
Yeah, and I mean, your question around what is age of consent, right? It's just a legal term that speaks to a person being legally competent to consent to sex and to consent to sexual acts. So that's the legality of it. It doesn't mean that physically, or psychologically, they are prepared for that. Right? And so that's something to pay attention to. You might have 16-year-olds, I know, especially for boys develop later than girls, right, that are not there yet to do that. But legally, the law says anybody that's engaging with a child under the age of 16 is committing an offense, and it is a crime, right? So, but that dynamic of having sex with a 30-year-old and you're 16, that is completely inappropriate. Right? Is it against the law? No, unfortunately, it is not. Right? Should the law be revisited? Right now, this is in accordance with the laws in the UK and the law in the US, right? So a lot of our work is informed from a legislation perspective, obviously, MERS, the UK too, right? And it's informed also by the trends that we see here.
Okay, we're going to take a commercial break. I'll just prepare you for this one. This person is, and you just touched on it, Ms. Charmaine. It says, if a child under 16 becomes pregnant, do we actively find out who the father of the child is? And if they are an adult, are they automatically prosecuted as well? So we will get the response to that when we return from our last commercial break. Please stay tuned. For the record, we'll be back shortly.
JN Money, money touchdown. Send the money now. Reach wow. You say you need some money, JN Money, I can send it in a hurry. Get through quick when you come collect your cash, or use a money card and swipe it in a flash. Send funds to any bank, yeah. Pay your bills quick, yeah. Low fees, you know what it, yeah. JN Money, we are pick, yeah. Send and receive funds at any JN Money location. It's fast, affordable, and convenient. Money touchdown with JN Money. Send funds to any bank, yeah. Pay your bills quick, yeah. Low fees, you know what it, yeah. JN Money, we are pick, yeah.
Call 345-945-2014 for details. Available at JN Money locations across the Cayman Islands.
Since March 2004, West Bay Pharmacy has kept their doors open to the local communities, even before, during, and after Hurricane Ivan. At West Bay Pharmacy, our staff provides so much more than pharmaceutical excellence. From the moment you walk through our doors to completing your cash out, our staff will have put your healthcare concerns at ease. We would like to take this moment to thank our loyal friends and customers. To us at West Bay Pharmacy, our patients are our primary concern. We provide thorough background checks and precise calculations to ensure your medical safety. Thank you for being a part of our family and for choosing West Bay Pharmacy, where we care about your health.
Tune in every Monday through Friday at 12 p.m. for Radio Cayman's Midday Newscast. Radio Cayman, the People's Station, your trusted official source for the latest news. The 12 p.m. news is proudly brought to you by Health City Cayman Islands. World-class healthcare within your reach.
For the record, with Ort Connor.
Initiating system.
For information that matters. For the record, with Ort Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. We're on the last leg of the show this morning. Of course, this is Child Pregnancy Prevention Month here. Teen Pregnancy, sorry. Teen Pregnancy Prevention Month here in the Cayman Islands. We're talking about the activities and the issues as well with Miss Charmaine Miller, Miss Kenzie Wright, and we have Miss Luella on the phone as well. One more WhatsApp message before we hand over to our panelists. This person says, endorsing 100% the concern of repetitive pregnancy in single families of poverty. Says that the older children then become the extension cords of parenting, wrong role modeling, and caregivers, which is abuse. What agency should actively look into this factual abuse? 16 years of age consent definitely needs to be readdressed. At 16 years, are they eligible to a driver's license? So they're saying they're not even eligible for a driver's license, at that age. Okay, folks, over to you.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. If you know of someone under the age of 16 that is engaging sexually with anyone, it doesn't matter if they are this other person is 15 or older, it does not matter. A report needs to be made, right? And if you're not comfortable making that report, giving us a call, that's not a problem. Family Resource Center, 949-0006. We can help you with actually completing that report, and it could be submitted online. And sometimes people feel more comfortable with that. That's not a problem, right? Yeah, I mean, it's and that's a really interesting, when I reflect back on what I just said, sometimes teenagers are having sex with obviously themselves, not just, there's this belief that oftentimes teen mothers are getting pregnant by older men. Yes, yeah. And yes, that does happen, but sometimes they're getting pregnant by young teenagers themselves, right? So even if you have a 14-year-old and a 15-year-old having sex, that is against the law and it must be reported. And so the matter then gets immediately transferred to the Department of Children's Services and it becomes a legal issue and they take it on from there. Our responsibility is obviously to raise that awareness and to educate people and referring them to the appropriate resources. So I'll make reference again to MASH. Very, very important. That is why they were created, to protect children, right? And so giving them a call, going online, MASH Cayman Islands, mash.gov.ky, and just familiarizing with yourself. Again, if you don't feel comfortable, just give us a call, and we will redirect them.
Okay. Kenzie?
And that question that you asked, the part I really liked about it was the role modeling. Developmental psychology speaks so strongly to how children learn through modeling. And we at the Family Resource Center, we really encourage the fact if you are to, for example, have an argument with your partner, make sure that it's not in front of the children. If there's to be a disagreement or anything like that, we want to not shy children away from what, the relationship that they have, but we want to always model loving, caring, supportive relationship. And we want to model, for example, if you are a single mother, we want to wait a little bit longer before we introduce that gentleman to the child because we want to make sure that this is an appropriate person for them to learn from. So we really want to speak to how modeling really influences children as they grow. For example, if a child witnesses domestic violence in the home, they are far more likely to accept a domestic violence relationship for themselves. So if we are in the home and we're having many children and we are expecting the older siblings to look after the younger siblings, it's most likely going to be that the older siblings will go and have children themselves. So we really just want to speak to what am I modeling and is this what I want for my children? If it's not, how can I make changes? And there's many agencies on island that will support you in making those changes. All you have to do is make a call because we're here to help and we're happy to help.
Ms. Luella, we have about 10 minutes left to go. We're going to turn the mic over to you. Want to give you an opportunity for some, final comments as well.
Yes.
Okay.
I just wanted to reiterate the importance of bringing up the conversation as early as possible with your children, making sure that they're in a comfortable space, making sure that they are aware of all the risks that come with having sex at a young age, not only getting pregnant, but all the sexually transmitted diseases that, are out there, making sure that your child is as informed as possible, creating a healthy space around them where they have positive role models, whether that be family members, teachers, counselors, neighbors, just keeping your child as safe as possible from any type of unhealthy relationships that they may see.
Okay. Thank you very much for that, Ms. Luella. Let's go over to you, Kenzie.
I guess in terms of just overall, as parents, I think it's really important to make sure that we're having the conversations. We've stressed a lot of conversations over the past hour, but also, if you know that your child is engaging sexually, providing them with, adequate access to contraceptives. You mentioned, I don't know if you've mentioned already, but there are different places locally that you can go to, teenagers can go to get contraceptives, right? And we know of HSA.
HSA, we have the Red Cross, we have UCCI Student Services, and we also have Cayman AIDS Foundation. And they put them in a bucket, and it's a no questions asked policy. So if if a teenager or any adult wants to go in and access those free contraceptives, which are in the form of condoms, they are welcome to do so, and there will be no questions asked.
Now, how do we respond again to those persons who say that by doing that you're actually encouraging? Yes. How do we respond?
Well, I guess it's that shift. It's that shift in terms of how we're viewing prevention, right? You're not encouraging, and it shouldn't be something where, as parents, you're leaving in a cute little basket in the bathroom condoms, and it's just there, right? We have to circle it back to the fact that we've been having conversations, right? We've been having conversations over a long period of time now, or even we've started this week, right? And this is something that is there now in the event that eventually you find yourself in that position. You know what? Going back to the contraceptive piece, because Kenzie mentioned that there's so many different places on island, but back to the Taya Lounge focus group that we had. The kids are actually purchasing these things at either the gas station or these little small convenience stores here, right? So they're getting it either way, whether they're not, I mean, unfortunately, they're spending money on it where they can do it for free, but it's something that we can't shy away from. And if they're not getting it from the gas station or from other places, they're getting it from their friends too, right? So again, it's about education and prevention, right? And not immediately assuming that if they're doing it, if they're, you know, if I have it there to their disposal, it means that they're already having sex. Well, they may be. They may just very already be, right? But how can we educate them? And I think in our campaign, we always talk about sex is a big decision. It's really, and that's how you should come from it. It is a big decision, right? Look at the pros and look at the cons of it, right? We actually, several years ago, we went to different assemblies in the schools, and it was huge. Like, we had like 100 kids, and so we did something that we refer to as a decisional balance, but it was a person decisional balance. So we said sex is a big decision. Okay, name me a pro, right? And they'll be like, well, I'll have my boyfriend with me, right? And he wants to, and so we have to do it, right? And so for every pro, they would stand, right? And so it would start to become this balance. For every con, well, my boyfriend's going to leave me because then he thinks that I'm soft, or, you know, that I'm a whore, whatever the case may be, right? And so what you started seeing, they had a visual example of how there were more cons than pros to having sex, right? And so that's where, for us, it's really important. These are teenagers. They're not dumb, right? Let's talk to them and let's instill some critical thinking as opposed to just telling them, don't do it, don't do it.
Yep.
Right? You are worth the wait. This is a big decision. Let's talk about it. Right?
So activities for the month again. We want to talk about the things that you'll be actively involved in during this period.
We are actually having a forum, I Am Worth the Wait. So this is an open invitation to anyone between the age of 12 to 16. It's on June 3rd. From 6 to 9, and we're going to have many professionals from different areas in Cayman that speak to many different things, such as sexual health, such as healthy relationships, setting boundaries, teen pregnancy consequences, because they need to be educated, because if they are engaging in sex, they must need to know the consequences. And just speaking to many different things. This is going to be held at Parcel 101, which is in Georgetown. I think it's on a Friday, right?
Yes.
And we're going to make it fun as well.
Okay.
So we'll make it fun. We'll make it interactive, and we'll make it educational. We'll have breakout rooms. We'll have opportunities to ask questions. And it's really just a educational, fun Friday where they can come and just learn so many important questions.
And that's again June 4th.
June 4th.
June
3rd. I believe it's June 3rd. Just know it's on the Friday. But between this age of 12 to 16, the brain is developing very rapidly, but it's not fully developed. So to be able to have a safe space and just this event to really ask any questions that they may have can be very important and can cause a change within our community, and that's what we're hoping for.
And this is, I mean, initially we talked about being creative and how you have this conversation. This is creativity, right? So if right now you're uncomfortable with it, send your child. Know that, you know, as Family Resource Center, we're pretty reputable, right? We're bringing in experts too to have educated conversations with your children and with your teenagers, right? So this is another opportunity where if you're not in a position, you know, speak to the experts about it, right? And we're also going to have more sessions that will target specifically parents too, to provide them the tools that they need.
Excellent. Okay, I want to thank both of you,
Thank you
for being here, sharing all of that knowledge with us. And I know, based on the messages that we have been receiving that are listeners there also, have been engaged and have presented some, very good questions and scenarios as well. So, folks, I want to thank you for allowing Radio Cayman and, by extension, For the Record into your homes, into your vehicles as you traverse the busy roads of the Cayman Islands, into your places of work, wherever that may be. I also want to remind you that we are our brothers and our sisters' keepers. There is always someone out there who's less fortunate than we are, and I ask you to extend a helping hand to them. If you can't do that, then I suggest you donate to a worthy charity, because we always want to consider those who need, not necessarily those who want or even those who crave. So I say to you, have a great day. Continue to support your radio station, Radio Cayman. Join Sterling, Dwayne Banks at 12:15 for Talk Today. And as usual, we ask the good Lord to bless these three beautiful, wonderful Cayman Islands.
For the Record is brought to you by Vamped Motors, the only authorized Ford and Toyota dealership serving the Cayman Islands. Coca-Cola, available across the Cayman Islands from Tortuga distributors. Accept no substitutes. Taste the feeling with Coca-Cola. Brand Source Home Gallery, inspiring luxury. West Bay Pharmacy, taking care of your health. And JN Money. From abroad to yard. Fast, affordable, convenient. Doctor's Hospital. Peace of mind is important when life happens. Doctor's Hospital. Always there for you. Call 949-6066.
Satisfaction is guaranteed 24 hours a day, whether it's music or information.
From Grand Cayman to Cayman Brac to Little Cayman, we've got you covered.